So the questions are these. How can we really activate the best of the private sector to meet the challenges of the real world? Is there a way to accelerate my career that doesn't involve boring online or classroom courses? And can I really impact people in the developing world with the skills that I have? Can I finally feel proud of what I know? Those are the questions, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Philippa White, and this is TIE Unearthed. Keep listening, and you can follow us on our journey as we show you how we're connecting the private sector with the social sector to make change. Hey there, welcome to episode 1 of TIE's podcast. In this first ever episode, I thought that I'd kick things off with a backstory of why and how TIE came about. So if I really think back to where it all properly started, it was probably inspired from a particular long weekend in the UK when sitting with my family around the dining room table. It was 2004, and at the time I was working in advertising in London. Basically, my whole family is in the helping people industry. So from all over the world, South Africa, Canada, the UK, they're doctors, social workers, environmental engineers, public health professionals. You get the idea. Everyone was sharing experiences about their work and what they were up to. And then there was me, the one who worked in advertising. On that particular occasion, I really struggled to contribute to the conversation, which, if you know me, doesn't actually happen very often. I felt, for lack of better words, unworthy and found myself questioning why I had chosen this profession or this sector. Can any of you relate? You know those situations when you're asked what you do for a living and you apologetically say what you do, and you just keep thinking, the private sector is evil, profit is bad. But I hated feeling this way. I thought long and hard about what I wanted to do for a profession, and after a lot of soul searching, I chose to be in the private sector because I knew that's where I could thrive and that's where my skills fit. And to be honest, I really didn't want to be a doctor. But I also knew that I needed more. I needed to know that my skills had a greater meaning in the whole scheme of things, and I knew that others did too. And as each day progressed, this feeling just really weighed on me. I then looked at the power of the private sector. We don't have to feel badly for what we do. It has the power to make a huge difference in this world. And I thought about NGOs, basically those organizations around the world that support social projects that governments don't fund. They lack the funding and people to do much of what they would like to do. We also don't trust governments, and they take way too long to make decisions anyway. But the private sector, it can act pretty quickly. And they have the money and the people power to make big change. But in order for the sector to start to stand for more, people within it needed to believe in it and to feel proud to be doing what they do and to understand how it can be a force for change. And I kept thinking about this. And also, people on the outside of the sector, they need to not be so skeptical of it so that they actually want to work in it. And also, people need to understand the potential and the opportunities that it provides. Profit isn't a bad thing. It allows organizations and their work to be sustainable. Not being reliant on donations is incredibly empowering. As an aside, I love supporting social enterprises. It's like TV isn't a bad thing. Too much TV is. The internet isn't bad, but things on the internet can be. So, back to the private sector and profit, we just need to make sure that companies at their heart are purposeful and don't exploit people or resources. So I kept thinking, okay, so how do we get there? And then I got to, so we need the future leaders within the private sector to know how best to drive companies in the right direction. And so this is where my head was going. And then my uncle passed away. So just to back up a bit, I was born in South Africa. I grew up in Canada. My accent's Canadian. My family on my mom's side is from the UK, and I lived there for a good few years when I was working in advertising. But South Africa was always a huge influence on me growing up. And it was probably due to my uncle, who was always a huge inspiration for me. He fought tirelessly against apartheid, and he was appointed as Nelson Mandela's personal doctor when he came out of prison during the first round of negotiations with the apartheid government. So in November 2004, I flew to Cape Town to join my family in celebrating Neil's life. And it all started to fall into place when I was sitting in the congregation. I looked around and I saw a sea of faces. White, black, colored, people from so many different walks of life and backgrounds. There was a government minister with his 2 bodyguards, medical colleagues, comrades from the struggle, friends, and of course, family. But what really struck me were the stories that were told by the people from the townships, whose lives had been dramatically impacted by my uncle. I can still picture 2 of the people that went to the front of the room to share their memories of him. The first was a colored man. He was sat behind me, and he asked to speak, and everyone was like, yeah, go. And afterwards, he walked to the front of the room, and he told us about how he lived in a shantytown where Neil had a handful of patients. And he said that Neil was the only doctor at the time during apartheid that treated his patients like human beings. He learned the local languages, and he was able to actually communicate with people that were sick, unlike the others that worked like a vet, unable to communicate, and treated people like animals. I heard that, and it blew my mind. The next person to put their hand up was this woman. She was tall. I'm 6'1", and I remember her being bigger than me. She had an extremely large, heavy build, and she had hair growing from her chin, which she clearly cut short. She was a big character, and as she walked to the front of the room, everyone wanted to hear what she had to say. She had this huge presence, and she told us about how she was in jail during apartheid, how Neil went to visit her regularly. She explained that he was risking his life to do this, not only as going to to the area of town that she was in, dangerous for whites, but he also passed her chocolates with messages on the inside of these chocolates to tell her what was happening on the outside. Who knows what would have happened if the guards had got hold of those chocolates. And again, I listened to this story and I thought, God, this memorial was a huge turning point for me. It reminded me of what Sir John Hegarty says. Now, I'm not sure if you know who Sir John is. He's a co-founder of the agency BBH, so Bartle Bogle Hegarty. And I'm also lucky to say that he's one of our incredible advisors, for which I'm so grateful. But he's also an incredible thought leader, and a famous phrase of his is, do interesting things and interesting things will happen to you. When talking about how to reach your full potential, he talks about the importance of expanding your personal circle and to spend as much time as you can with people in professions and backgrounds different to your own, and how powerful that is. So when I looked around the congregation at my uncle's funeral, I reflected on my uncle's life and listened to the stories of everyone in the room that day. It was so clear just how powerful it is to expand your personal circle. Neil was one of the most inspirational people that I knew, and it was clear that he had a profound impact on so many people's lives too. He wasn't just a white middle-class doctor from South Africa. He was so much more than that. And this was why. That day changed my life, and it was a big catalyst to the creation of TIE. People want to be the change that they want to see in this world. Our private sector skills are vital to making the world a better place. NGOs need our help, and CEOs want people that are confident, that are innovative, well-rounded, and can work with a variety of different people. This was the essence of what TIE was going to be about. This was going to be a chance for people to step out of their comfort zones, to work with people that they've never worked with before, a chance for people to be brave, to push themselves, to be more confident, to embrace diversity, to feel genuinely proud of what they do and the skills they have. I thought, okay, this is it. This is what I need to do. So I quit my job at BBH, where I was working at the time. I had very little money. I was a very low-paid account person, and I moved to Brazil. I didn't know Portuguese, or know that much actually about international development, but I knew that I needed to pull this off, and I gave myself 6 months to create a pilot. And I actually only had 6 months because that was the length of time that my visa was valid for. So the clock was ticking. But this was my first taste of necessity being the mother of invention, which actually now is a big part of what TIE is all about. And with that, TIE was born. So since 2007, we've been taking professionals from the corporate world and getting them to work with social initiatives across the globe that really need their skills and their help. And our goal has always been to unleash the full potential of future leaders through an opportunity to learn through experiences and to make a difference to people and communities around the world. You know, we've had professionals working in places that they've never been to before, with people they've never worked with before, often in a language they've never spoken before. You know, they won't have their normal team to help them out, and they have a fraction of the money that they usually have to create something. And they've only ever had, one objective and 30 days to reach it. And the results have been extraordinary. And the whole time proving that necessity is the mother of invention. Since we piloted it in 2007, I've heard numerous CEOs tell us that our program is one of the best leadership development experiences they've come across. After every placement, we hear participants say that the experience has fundamentally changed their lives. Numerous people have been promoted following a TIE placement, and the impact on NGOs and communities is seriously mind-blowing. Now, there are so many stories I could tell, but would be here literally for days. But to give you an idea, just to someone, as to how someone can step out of their day-to-day job and prove just how powerful their skills are, I thought I'd tell you about Trevor the designer from Wieden and Kennedy, New York. Now, a few years ago, he went on TIE. Now, Trevor's from Midwest America. He worked at Wieden's at the time, and he spent his life on InDesign or some other design software, creating absolutely beautiful work for some of Wieden's biggest clients. He was great in design, but day to day, he didn't really have the chance to work with strategy or run projects from beginning to end, and he also hadn't really traveled much. But he signed up for TIE, and before he knew it, he found himself in the middle of Malawi, working with Hestian, which is a social enterprise that works to tackle the climate challenge in Malawi by getting people to buy stoves that use a lot less wood, and therefore reduce the time people spend collecting it. So instead of collecting wood, they can actually work and make money. Decreasing the rate of deforestation, creating less indoor smoke, which, just so you know, lower tract respiratory infections are the leading cause of death for children under 5 in Malawi. And I think the second leading cause of death for adults in Malawi because of smoke inhalation. And of course, less smoke means less CO2 in the atmosphere. So it was a no-brainer. But before TIE, Hestian was only able to sell 500 stoves in 2 years. So Trevor the designer needed to do things he would never normally do at work, draw on all of the experience he's developed in his life, get under the skin of life in Malawi, and figure out how to get more people buying these stoves. 30 days later, at the end of his placement, more than 10,000 fuel-efficient stoves were ordered. And now, the last time we checked a couple of years ago, there were sort of 500,000 stoves in the market. And they're a leading stove manufacturer for the area. We have so many stories like Trevor's, showing that anyone can step out of their silo and make a difference, and that people know more than they think they do. And so we've been on a roll, and 2020 was looking like it was going to be a fantastic year. We had 4 new clients lined up, loads of projects with social initiatives written and ready to go. We were excited. And then COVID-19 hit. And like so many other people around the world, this hit us big time. Borders shut, no international travel now, and probably for a good amount of time moving forward. Our business model sends people internationally. Borders need to be open. And our clients are companies who, like us, were equally feeling the hit. Overnight, our business model crumbled. And not only that, a few days after things started to shut down in Brazil, which is where I still live, me, then my 5-year-old, and shortly afterwards my 9-year-old, all started coughing. Like a lot. Like it was never ending. And after a few tests, we tested positive for COVID-19. What a moment. And as many other people can certainly relate, it felt like everything was collapsing around me. But the emails started to flood in from various partners around the world, and the conversations were ongoing with our partners around the global south. We were really wanting to find out how they were faring in this situation. And we started to understand the challenges that they are facing on the ground in their communities and with regards to their business models. Like, they needed help now more than ever before. And I remember looking at my placement calendar that sits on my wall behind my computer, and it was empty. Nothing. No money coming in, and I had no idea when international borders would open up. And there were no organizations or companies, on the horizon as far as sending people to help. And I had no idea when companies would even start to invest in leadership development opportunities again. And I have to say, I had a couple of days feeling like I wanted to give up. It all felt a little bit too much at the time. I was still sick, my kids were still sick. Luckily, none of us had serious complications, but I can tell you this virus definitely lingers. I needed to look after us and my company and our partners around the world, but I just didn't see a way out of this. I didn't know what to do. But then I snapped out of it, and I knew we had to make this work, and we had to figure this out fast. And I kept thinking, NGOs need our help more than ever before. And there are so many people that want to be the change that they want to see in this world. We just needed to bring these worlds together, and we needed to start to practice what we teach. Necessity is the mother of invention. And then things started to turn a corner. So we created 3 virtual opportunities, 2 for companies, which we knew would take a little while to fill, but we actually already started to pique the interest of a few companies that we were in touch with. And we had another option that finally allowed us to work with individuals who could do it without being sponsored by their companies. Suddenly, we had so much more to offer, and things started to get exciting. Then my guardian angel appeared in the form of Mel Parsi, a TIE alumnus and now Chief Strategy Officer at the global agency Be Real. She spoke with the agency, and they agreed to help us. With them, we launched our TIE Accelerator program, and I will be forever grateful. They were the light and belief we needed at a pretty dark moment. Then the conversations with the NGOs around the world started getting more and more exciting. We started to speak with organizations in so many places around the world that we were never able to work with before. One in Iraq, for example, that works with people impacted by ISIS. Working virtually now allows us to work in places that were previously impossible in the immersive TIE model. And also, we started to hear from a handful of global CEOs that weren't able to get involved with TIE before, but now that it's virtual, they can. So there was real hope, and we started to see the benefits to this way of working. So having a virtual option, people now can do this around their day jobs. We can now impact more people on both sides of the equation. TIE has so much more to offer now. And now we have a catalog of opportunities for various people. And as a result, it's a much more sustainable business model. So in every crisis, there is an opportunity, and necessity is the mother of invention. And the obstacle is the way. As cliche as all of these phrases are, they couldn't define TIE more. And we all have a renewed enthusiasm for what we have to offer and the impact we can now have on the world. So it's a super exciting moment with some serious pivoting happening. And as we continue this journey, I wanted to have you guys along for the ride. Our daily conversations are really inspirational, be it with participants, CEOs, talent people, social initiatives in developing countries, beneficiaries, and the list goes on. So you may learn something new, you will probably see the world in a different way, but I can assure you, you will be inspired. So check in when you can and follow our story as it's being told. It's great to have you with us. Until next time, better leaders, better companies, better world. Hey everyone, this is Philippa again. So this is your chance to get involved with TIE. We have 3 absolutely amazing virtual opportunities available, all rooted in connecting the private sector with the social sector to make change. TIE has never been more necessary than right now. So if you're looking for life-changing leadership development opportunities for your employees and you want your company to impact the world, we've got you covered. If you're looking to step out of your comfort zone and use your skills to make a difference and keen to meet other like-minded professionals with similar values, then our TIE Accelerator program is for you. There are so many options, so I urge you to get in touch. Go to theinternationalexchange.co.uk for more information or just shoot us an email. Better companies, better leaders, better world. Hi, Philippa White here, and welcome to episode 4 of TIE's podcast, How You Can Stand Out as a Leader and Change the World. This is a big day. I'm so thrilled to be announcing TIE Accelerator, our exciting new offering. Finally, for the first time ever, individuals can get involved with TIE without being sponsored by their companies. This is huge for so many reasons.